Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Brendan Lee with Consciousness and Skill Worldwide, founded by Peter Ralston. In this video, I want to talk to you about consciousness work and considering if consciousness work and or perhaps the whole work of Cheng Shin or consciousness and skill, will that work or will becoming conscious solve my problems? That's what I would like to answer in this video. Okay, so now, will consciousness work solve my problems? The short answer is no, it won't. Okay? Now, before you click away from this video, or if you clicked away already, that's all right. Well, you're gone now and you won't hear this. But stick around so I can explain myself. What I consider when I consider consciousness work, so maybe a little backstory would help. So for example, my own personal story at the beginning, when I was younger, I wasn't happy. And, I was like in my teens, I was going through my child angst, teenage angst kind of thing. I was depressed and blah, blah, blah. And the story I tell is I put it out to the universe like, hey, I want to have something. I need something. Universe, I need something. And then the universe, as if provided. Now, I don't have a huge belief system about this, but I have noticed that it does seem that these things can occur. And lo and behold, I met Peter Ralston, my mentor, my teacher. And almost instantly I knew, this is the answer to my what? To my problems. Now, what were my problems? Well, I was unhappy. I didn't feel good about myself. I felt, alone in the world, depressed, say. And then I find this person whom I recognize right away, massively skillful, genius, the way they can move. So I was initially drawn to the martial arts aspect. And then also something else about this human being really struck me, and I didn't know what that was, but something else. And I suspect now that it was the consciousness work and the integrity, the massive honesty and the massive amounts of integrity that I experienced in that other human being. You see, the person that was showing up. And that drew me. That was the first thing that drew me to the work. And then I pursued the work because I thought I had a problem and I needed to fix myself. And this was the answer. And that kept me going for a while. Okay? But then after a while, what I started to realize was that this might be a little tricky for me to explain to you, but I'm going to do my best, is I started to realize the source of the problem itself. And as it turns out, the source of the problem was me. But I didn't know that at the time. I just thought, I'm going to do the consciousness work, and the consciousness work or the martial arts, it's going to fix me. But I was wrong about that. You see, the work itself does not fix me. Okay? However, but even though I was holding it that way, I was holding it that the work is going to fix me. It's somehow going to be the answer to all my problems. And it does not. That is not the works as if nature to fix people, because I have noticed that people come in all the time, often, with problems. They come in to do workshops here, like literally here behind me, and I can see and I can tell and I notice in them and or private students that I've worked with that they want the work to fix them. They've got a problem. They want to get fixed. And I totally relate to that because I had that, you see. And then the deeper I went and the more I dug in, the more I realized, if I really want to become conscious, it behooves me not to come from the perspective of I need to fix something. Because if I come to the consciousness work, say just using consciousness work here, with the attitude that it's going to fix me and I'm looking to solve my problems, I will be viewing the work itself always from the perspective of, is this going to work to fix me? Like, is it going to work to solve my problems? That's going to be a question. And because I'm holding it that way, I will move towards and be happy about or okay with anything that looks like it might solve my problems. And I will avoid and or ignore aspects of my experience that I think, that's not going to solve my problems. Why would I care about that? Why even look into that? Who cares? It's not going to fix me. So you see, so then I'm acknowledging some things and not acknowledging others because of my preset perspective. You see, now it turns out, as far as I can tell, this is the truth of the matter, it turns out that my problems themselves, the person that I am that has the problems, and then the aspect of myself that rejects those problems and wants to solve those problems, both of those aspects come from the same source anyway. You see, so the problems and the fixer of the problems both come from the same, as if foundation in my experience, that is me, like Brendan, a character. The foundation itself provides both of those perspectives. You see, and consciousness, as if becoming conscious, allows me to see that. Whereas before, I usually would just live in a world that it's like, oh, I'm a person, I see the problems, and then I want to fix the problems without ever getting to the root of the real issue, which is it's all coming from the same place. And then I can just stop the problems, say. It's a possibility. You see, and so I do notice, and the only reason I can really speak with authority on this matter is because I've been through that line of thinking. I want it to fix me, and so I go, and then at some point I realize, shit, this doesn't actually fix me, and then I may have like a crisis at that point where I go, well, what's the point in continuing? And then that does seem to be a place where I had to grow out of the thinking that the consciousness work and the martial arts, like doing Cheng Shin, is going to somehow fix me or solve my problems, and move on to doing the work as if more for the work's sake. So now it shows up for me more like I am just massively curious about stuff. Whether it's a problem or not a problem, I want to know what things are a lot more. So there's like an aspect of questioning, wondering about stuff, really wanting to know and become conscious of new things, rather than being motivated by a thing that's like, oh, I've got a problem, I need to fix my problems, and somehow like I'm a broken human being, perhaps. See? So I don't need to rely on that anymore. Now, for people listening, I imagine that there are some people listening now that you may think, well, I do have a problem. I think the work's going to fix me, but you just told me it's not going to fix me, so why should I do it? I say, well, on one hand, no, it's not going to fix you. However, on the other hand, what I've noticed for myself is that engaging in the work has allowed me to, as if, view my problems more realistically. And what I mean by that is recognizing the nature of the problem itself. And by recognizing the nature of the problem itself, I can free myself from it. But and what's tricky, as far as I can tell, what's really tricky about this is if I go at the problem from the perspective of I need to fix it rather than really trying to become conscious of what it is in the first place, then I will be hampered in my ability to become conscious and ultimately to become free of the problem. So you can see how maybe counterintuitive that is, because usually, as far as I can tell and what I've seen, when people come in, they want to fight against themselves. And so my very first invitation to them, based on my experience now, is, what I would say, love yourself. Now, I don't mean airy-fairy, mamby-pamby bullshit. I mean, accept yourself the way you are. Let yourself show up exactly the way you are. The positive and the negative, the awesome parts and the shit. Let it all hang out, so to speak, because then I get a much more clear picture of the playing field. I start to see what's really there, and then I can question what's really there. and become conscious of what's really there. And it just so happens that in the act of becoming conscious, maybe I ultimately find out that I'm the one doing the problems in the first place, and then I just stop doing that. But you can't listen to what I'm saying and then believe what I'm saying as if, well, you can. It's just not going to serve you, and it's not going to serve your contemplation at all. You could believe me, but don't. I do not recommend this. Peter definitely does not recommend this, and I, by proxy also, and have noticed the power in this perspective, don't believe what I say. Figure it out for yourself, because that's what I had to do. See, so there's that other aspect. Maybe you have to go through, like we say here often, you got to do what you got to do. You got to go through what you got to go through, and then you figure it out, because that's what really benefits you. Not just me talking, but you actually becoming conscious, you see, or aware for yourself, whatever's true. Okay, so there's kind of like some good news and some bad news in there. The bad news is the consciousness work isn't going to fix you. However, the good news is the consciousness work is likely to reveal the real cause of the problem in the first place, which is you. And then you fix it by stop doing the problem. See, and then don't believe me. Okay? So that's what I've got for you there. I want to see if there's anything else. The last aspect of this video is I would like to share that very often people that are having problems, what I mean by problems, I guess, are like life difficulties, life challenges. They don't feel right in themselves. They feel like they somehow lesser human beings, or somehow broken, or can't love, or really depressed or unhappy and stuff, and they'll ask the question, why do I have the problem? Why do I have the problem? They use like a why question. Now, what I've noticed about why questions is that there's an endless amount of explanations. Let me tell you that again. An endless amount of explanations as to why the problem is there. Especially if we're dealing with psychology. We could go down a psychological road and go, why do you have the problem? Well, your parents, blah, blah, blah. Well, the way you framed up reality is this way because, blah, 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 your psyche, blah, blah, blah. We could go with an energetic paradigm like, well, your energy's off, the energy in the universe is not being cycled through the cosmic rays in your third eye, and blah, blah, blah. We could go from a medical standpoint, or whatever, the chemicals in your brain are messed up, and therefore blah, blah, blah. Okay, we could explain to you as far as infinite. Okay? Now, that's what you get when you ask why. So I want to offer up a possibility. An alternative is, instead of asking why, first get what is what. For example, and I'm just considering here, it'd be like, I am broken. Okay, say I have some thought like, I'm broken, I'm a bad person or something. Well, several questions. One, what am I? What am I? When I say I, what am I? Most people don't know what they are. Most people don't even know who they are, really. They think they're like a plumber, or they're confused with an activity or an emotion or a location even, or the body or some such. They think they are these things. It'd be good to get clear on that. Then, if I'm broken, what is brokenness? Like, how does brokenness even get to exist in the first place? And then there might be a bunch of meaning about being broken. Oh, I'm broken, therefore I can't have the love of my life. I can't have money. I can't feel good all the time, or whatever. It would be useful to get what meaning is also. Like, what is meaning itself? Rather than coming from an already as if fixed foundation, if, say, for example, I question meaning, what I really realize is that meaning is generated by the individual. And a way to prove this really fast, if you go to a different country, different things have different meanings. Like, this doesn't mean anything in the States, but over in England, it means fuck you. Or if you stick your foot up and point it at somebody, nobody in the United States cares, but in Thailand, it means fuck you. You see, it's totally different meaning. So what's that say about meaning itself? It's made up. Yeah? See, so then I would recommend, and as if give a a recommendation. You don't have to follow this, and then verify for yourself what's true in the matter. Ask what it is. What am I? Like, what is the problem really? Or like, what is a reaction if I have a reaction? What is that? And what's underneath that reaction? Not like a psychological explanation, but like in your experience right now, what is, as if underneath the problem? What is the source of the problem, the real source? Not like, why is the problem here? And then if you answer those what questions, I am almost certain that the why question will become irrelevant and answer itself, so to speak. Okay? So that's what I have for you on will consciousness work fix me? Will consciousness work solve my problems? No. And maybe yes. And no. Okay? That sure cleared it up. Brennan Lee with Consciousness and Skill Worldwide, founded by Peter Ralston. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you later. Bye.